everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Carol with part 3 of Tarot Cards and Symbols. Today we will be looking at the symbols in the sky, namely clouds and birds. And we'll begin with clouds, and most of us know that clouds are a formation of the mixtures of the 4 elements of nature, beautifully depicted by the aces. Where we have air, water, fire, and earth. We also know that clouds can affect our moods. They can make us feel whimsical, happy, soothing, lighthearted, and very imaginative. Have you ever laid down in the grass and looked up in the sky and saw the images changing form, and your imagination and creativity went into effect, and you said, oh, I see a tiger, or I see a bent tree, all kinds of images. Now, the other thing that clouds can depict is oppression. They can be threatening, they can be a sign of warning, and difficulties. That is our storm clouds with lightning and thunder and hail and rain that becomes floods, all from the clouds. So they are both sides of the spectrum. Clouds can be positive and happy, or they can be threatening and oppressive. All right, now birds, very quickly. We're going to get to the birds during the end of this video. But birds, like the butterfly I discussed in part 2 of this series, represents the soul and elevated beings. In alchemy, though, birds stand for the forces and processes of activation. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, the process of activation is, in the birds, is how they're formed, their species, their coloring, and also the formations that they take on in the sky when they're in flight. That process of activation also gives us symbols and information to understand what they depict and what they mean. Crows are different than hawks. We won't be going into that today, but that's what we talk about with alchemy, and how birds stand for different symbols and different meanings. Okay, birds are also a symbol of air, which we're going to be definitely looking at today. And air, of course, is depicted in the tarot by the suit of swords, here the ace of swords. And for those, just to recap, the element of air symbolizes intellect, reasoning, and higher thought. So we've got the aces out. Let's take them out, and for your monitor's sake, I'm going to put them this way. Okay, now right away, we have a hand coming out of a cloud. The hand is said to be from God or Spirit, and the cloud surrounding it is said to be from Spirit. So it's the unknown. It is veiled. It is you don't see it, so that's why it emerges from spirit. Now that is also true with the next set of cards that we're going to be discussing with clouds, and that is the Lovers and Judgment. Okay, so here we have Raphael and we have Gabrielle emerging from clouds, or we could say riding on clouds, because ancient myth and legend talked about clouds as a vehicle for transportation for higher beings, i.e. here we have 2 archangels. Now, Archangel Gabrielle here is wakening people and telling them to wake up. And here Archangel Raphael, again known as the angel of air. And if we look at this cloud, there are red lines kind of outlining the clouds on the top. Red stands for active, it stands for desire. And this cloud of information is saying, have proper thinking so you make good choices. Okay, now next we come to the Tower card. Oh, but you know, before I do that, there was something else I wanted to kind of throw in there. You know me. Okay. The clouds here look like they separate the card in half. And that is true. Because, again, going back to clouds veiling things, all right? What that depicts is that there is a lower world and a ground, and then there's the higher world. So we have what's below and what's above, and we humans live in the earth, the bottom world, but we tend to aspire and look up to the clouds, the heaven, the unknown, and we use our mind there to fantasize, to think, to ponder, to contemplate what's out there, what's next beyond the clouds, beyond that space, that territory. So I wanted to get that in there too. Okay, now we'll go to the Tower. And the Tower, these clouds are funny looking. Right away, we know that they are false. And if you count them, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That depicts the 5 senses, or the false belief and thinking manifested by man when he uses his 5 senses improperly, where sooner or later he's destroyed by his own creations when you use your 5 senses in a very selfish manner. Okay, so these clouds are false. Okay, so they depict trouble. Like we were saying here earlier, they're usually happy clouds, or they can be troubling clouds. Now, let's turn our attention to other major cards with clouds, and we have the Wheel of Fortune and we have the World card. Now, both cards at the corners have images of clouds again coming from Spirit. Now, in the Wheel of Fortune, the 4 images have wings and are holding books. Wings are said earlier that they are a sign of spiritualization. All 4 also depict aspects of the Bible, Jehovah, the Tetragrammaton. And the books that these winged beings are holding is said to be the wisdom of the ages and the laws of the universe. They also relate to the 4 signs of the Zodiac, but not as much as they do in the World card. Now, the 4 signs of the Zodiac are depicted here by Aquarius as the face, Scorpio as the eagle, Taurus as the bull, and Leo as the lion. Now, they are the fixed signs of the Zodiac as well, and they are known as the task makers. They're really the workers of the Zodiac who are responsible, now this is important, for turning ideas into reality. Now, each of these sun signs, Aquarius, Scorpio, Taurus, and Leo, have one of the 4 elements. Aquarius is air, Scorpio is water, Taurus is earth, and Leo is fire. So here again, you have continuity, you have everything you need in the world. Okay? What's next? Okay, now there's 2 cup cards with clouds, and this one's very simple. It basically is a reminder of the gift from Spirit coming out of the clouds is being offered to you like the Ace of Cups. This one's a little different, okay? In the Seven of Cups, we have 7 visions, and they're placed on a bed of clouds. Now, it may help to know that clouds are also a symbol of change. Just a reminder, I'm sure you know that. They're not lasting, they're constantly moving, they're transitory, and certainly they're unstable. So all of his 7 visions are very much unstable, and it really indicates that he can't make up his mind. Okay? All right, now there are also clouds in the suit, a lot of clouds in the suit of swords. Let's begin with the 3 of swords, and then we'll move on to the 5 of swords. All right, in the 3 of swords, there is 3 clouds, and you can see that they are filled to capacity, filled with thoughts that fuel emotions. Our thoughts fuel emotions. And here it seems like it fueled it to a breaking point shown by the air. So these are storm clouds that we are seeing here, and they can indicate gloom, sorrow, dampness of our enthusiasm for life. But they're also clearing away feelings, emotions, and can be very, very healing. We know that water washes away debris. It replenishes our bodies of water. So here the energy has been discharged, and everything has been let go through the natural process. Okay? In the 5 of swords, we have jagged clouds, and we even have jagged water. So it says that the air in this card has influenced the clouds and also the environment, i.e., it has to influence the people. So here we see that these clouds are irregular. They have scattered white lines. If you really look closely, which shows additional irritation in the making, and that remember, clouds are always temporary, so all of this is changing. The forms of our thoughts are changing, and that's certainly depicted at the 3 states of the mind of these 3 people. So by now you're seeing that the meaning of the clouds really play into interpreting what the card depicts. Okay, we are now going to do the court cards, and here's where our birds come in. Let's start off with the king. There are 3 clouds, 2 at the bottom of his throne, and 1 on the left side. Now I say the left side because remember, in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, the image is a mirror image. So the right side is the left side is the right. But having the cloud and the birds on his left side, that's the feminine side or the right brain. And then the left side is the masculine side. So it indicates that this king is able to use both sides of his brain, because there's where his thought process are, and he has 2 birds in flight, and 2 is the number of femininity and the joining of 2 opposites. So this king is able to do that, and that's probably why he is king. Arthur Waite also calls for the birds, talking a little bit more about the birds, but I recall him saying that they are the animal symbol for the suit of swords, and they symbolizes the mind's ability to take flight and go into higher realms. All right, let's go now to the Queen of Swords. Now, she is higher. Her clouds, she doesn't have any below. All her clouds, she is higher. He's like halfway point. So she is above, and she has above the clouds, and she has one bird symbolizing her divine connection to spirit, solitude, pure vision. Also, she has clarity of vision. She has nothing that obstructs her view. Again, the clouds are below. And she searches for truth because that's what the swords indicate. Cut away the falsehood and get to the truth. So and also her head and shoulder is above the clouds. So that also indicates that she is has clear vision and seeks the truth. All right, now we come to the Knight of Swords, and look at how these clouds are so different. Again, here we are seeing rigid clouds. We're also seeing that he is riding against the wind, which means he's riding against himself. And the reason I know that is the air is bending the trees in the opposite direction. So it indicates that he's not thinking clearly. He's acting and reacting to his surrounding. And the jagged clouds of irregularity also show his state of mind. Now you'll also see that there are no birds in the sky, so that means he lacks willingness to seek higher thinking or higher knowledge at this point in his state. Lastly, we come to the Page of Swords. Now the clouds in this sky show aspiration. Now why do I say that? Because if you look, the clouds build upon themselves. It's like, okay, I've got this thought. Okay, now I'm thinking of that. And now that made me remember this, which brought me here, so on and so forth. So he is completely different. He definitely shows aspiration and progression of thought. The other thing that is different about him is he's determined to understand. That is depicted by there are 10 birds in flight. Okay? Now 10 we know is a cycle, a complete cycle of 10. 10 is a higher octave of the number 1. So he has completed his thinking process in one sense in the future, because birds are in flight, they haven't landed, so he has that potential to be able to conclude or think about something from start to finish. So that is all possibilities for him in the future. I also want you to look at his hair, because orange here indicates his curiosity, but it ends in a black ponytail with the hair going in all kinds of direction, and it symbolizes that he understands he's still in a state of ignorance and has much to learn as he lives in this world. So I'm going to conclude it there. That's it with our clouds and our birds. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, just email me. I welcome your comments. Thanks everyone for your support and listening and watching today. Till then, take care. Bye.